Kanji Yamanouchi is Japan's ambassador to Canada. Hi, Ambassador. Pleasure to welcome you to studio, and it's great to meet you.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored and privileged to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time. I wanted to start off by asking you, from your perspective, why now? Why is this happening now?
This is a very, very good question. But before answering that, I would like to express this is the very, very serious violation of the new United Nations Security Council resolution. Within this year, they made 20 times of the missile launch, ballistic missile launch. And also within the past 10 days, this is the fifth time. And this is really bad. And for our national security, this is a very clear and grave and very serious threat to our national security, and also against the international community.
And I do want to ask you about how you'd hope the international community reacts. But first, on what North Korea has done and what you just described, the incidents of these over the past number of days. Would you characterize this as an escalation?
I could say so, because this is first time in 5 years the missile flew over our territory and landed in the water of the Pacific Ocean within our EEZ. And this is a very, very serious one. And also the distance, they flew 4,300 kilometers. That is the longest sort of distance in the past.
So how nervous does it make Japan? And what is the government's response? Like what do you think Japan needs to do in response?
And the government of Japan condemned this action unequivocally in the strongest expression, and we conveyed our protest against North Korea through our Beijing embassy channel.
Okay, and my understanding from all the interviews I've read and the comments I've read is that nothing has been taken off the table as far as a response, including the possibility of a counterattack. I know that's obviously not where anybody wants things to go, but is that a possibility at some point, depending on what happens next?
The diplomat will not answer any hypothetical question, but I can tell you the Prime Minister Kishida made it very clear that they gave us instruction that we will enhance our information gathering, our intelligence, and also our analysis of what's going on and what it is. And secondly, we'll work together with countries like Canada or the United States or South Korea to work together for the complete and verifiable and irreversible denuclearization of North Korea. That's what we will do.
We have seen, for example, a conversation between the U.S. president and the Prime Minister of Japan talking about that condemnation and reiterating exactly what you just pointed out there. Is your sense that, do you have a sense that the international community is as aware as Japan of the nature of this threat, the scope of the threat, the seriousness of the threat? I
think so. After this missile launch, the Prime Minister Kishida, just you mentioned, had a conversation with President Biden. And also our Foreign Minister Hayashi had a conversation with Secretary of State Blinken. And also our Defense Minister Hamada had a conversation with Secretary of Defense Austin and with the United States. And also you just asked the reaction from the other countries. And whenever we have the G7 foreign ministers meeting or G7 leaders meetings, we take the issue of this North Korean one. And so I believe the international community has been working hard together to address this issue.
Do you anticipate, though, an escalation in response from the international community? Maybe that's through the UN, maybe that's through the Security Council this week, but do you anticipate an escalation in response that mirrors the escalation in aggressiveness from North Korea? Because this isn't just 6 months ago or 8 months ago, right? As you have pointed out, the number of missiles that they have launched has increased, and now the sort of severity of this one has increased as well or escalated as well. Do you anticipate that the international reaction will escalate as well?
I think the one thing I could say is the international community is now ready to work together for that purpose. And that is not just the sort of G7 countries. This is a resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. That is the only international fora which has a justification of what we are doing for the international order. and we follow that. And also, I would like to express this occasion the respect and gratitude to the Canadian government. You have been dispatching the frigate Vancouver and also CP-140 to address some kind of North Korean actions which might violate the Security Council resolution. So we are working together to address that one.
Let me ask you in that vein then, how difficult and how big of a challenge it is to enforce that resolution, to have that resolution and act on it, to condemn what North Korea is doing when it appears like North Korea doesn't care about that condemnation or doesn't care if it violates that resolution. How much of a challenge is that, do you think, going forward?
That's a very important question. But what we do is we compare notes and we work together for the purposes as a complete denuclearization. And also, we do have the various sort of opportunities to exchange our views. For example, Minister Champagne quite recently visited Japan to attend the state funeral of former Prime Minister Abe, but he took the time to meet with our Foreign Minister Hayashi. They talked about the various bilateral cooperation between Canada and Japan. And North Korean issue was also talked about by two ministers. And that is one clear demonstration that the international community cares. And they are willing to work together to address this very serious one.
Okay, Ambassador, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.